Borderlands 4 is probably the weakest entry into this franchise so far, but that doesn't mean it's a bad game. Welcome to Bite Size Bunny, my name's Tony, and today we are going to be talking about Borderlands 4. Borderlands 4 is the fifth mainline entry into the franchise, and this time the game is set on a new planet called Kairos. Kairos is run by an evil tyrant known as the Timekeeper, who has basically taken over the planet and stripped its civilians of their own free will. And he's done this through these bolt control implant devices that allow him to take control of people's bodies at any point in time and punish them if they ever step out of line. Now it's up to the Vault Hunters to team up with various rebels across the planet and come up with a plan to take down the Timekeeper. The opening hour of Borderlands 4 is an interesting one. It quickly establishes that this is going to be a much more dark experience, and it definitely pumps the brake on the comedy elements. It gives us the makings of a terrifying antagonist that should feel absolutely terrifying to go up against, especially with the legendary Dave Fennoy making such a strong first impression with the performance he brings to this character. And I was actually really intrigued to see where things were headed with the story. It managed to get its hooks into me, and I was captivated. I was ready to see where this adventure in the Borderlands universe was going to take me. Sadly, that ended up fading not too long after the game's initial introduction, and I found myself just kind of going through the motions with this game's narrative. A lot of the creative choices in Borderlands 4 feels very reactionary to how Borderlands 3 was perceived by its fan base. But some of the decisions made in Borderlands 4 feel like an overcorrection to the point that it felt like this one was having a bit of an identity crisis at times. One of the main aspects of Borderlands 4 that left me really wanting more was its characters. From the Vault Hunters to the various rebels you meet along your journey, there was not a single character that stood out to me in any meaningful way or had any kind of lasting impression, which is so jarring considering one of the most enjoyable aspects of this franchise are the fun and interesting zany characters you meet along the way as you're exploring these various planets. And those feelings feel even more amplified when you do eventually come across some familiar faces that you have bonded with over the past few games, and not even they can help elevate the story or cast of characters here. After a point, it kind of just felt like I was playing Ubisoft's latest Far Cry game, especially with the premise being, let's unite a bunch of rebels to take out the big bad guy of this area. And I couldn't help but feel like this game was just lacking any of the personality or soul the Borderlands franchise is known for having. But hey, it's not all bad news, because this is Borderlands we're talking about, and if there's anything Borderlands knows how to excel at, it is providing that fun, addicting looter shooter gameplay. Some of the tweaks they make to the core gameplay here do make this the best feeling Borderlands game yet. The new movement system manages to add a level of polish to the moment-to-moment gameplay that really lets the combat shine. The new jetpacks allow you to glide around the arenas, maneuvering your way around enemies as you continue to take them out, and it honestly started to remind me of Destiny's gameplay after a point, which in my opinion, that's a win, because I think Destiny is one of the best feeling FPS games out there. The weapons feel solid to use, they feel just right, though I will note it was kind of disappointing that there is a lack of variety in the weapons you can add to your arsenal for a large chunk of the game. It wasn't until I was entering the final act of this game's story that I finally found an exciting weapon that felt creative and fun to use. A lot of the weapons you're going to be finding during that main narrative experience feels extremely cookie cutter and left me wanting more. It's another one of those examples where it feels like it kind of pivoted a little too hard from Borderlands 3, where you were constantly finding fun, wacky weapons to use. And so it feels like they did a complete 180 on that here, and it takes substantially longer before you start to find those fun weapons. And when it comes to the boss battles in this game, they're a bit of a mixed bag. There are some really cool bosses in this game from a visual standpoint, but when it comes to the gameplay and mechanics, a lot of the boss fights in this game are very repetitive, and you can tackle them by just running in a circle around the arena and unloading your weapons into them until they eventually get eliminated. Overall, Borderlands 4 is more Borderlands. It's just not as good Borderlands. While the new movement is fun and the gunplay remains well crafted, the story, characters, and world left me wanting more. I'm going to be giving Borderlands 4 a 6 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. Like, subscribe, and all that YouTube stuff. And what's your favorite Borderlands game? I'd love to know.